Check, check, check. Alright, here we are. So I do have so much content on the puppies. Don't mind Kiwi, she's just eating here in the backyard, or background here. That might take a minute. But, yeah, we had a lot of fun on this project with the puppies, so I figured might be a good, wise thing to go through and just kind of like discuss the overall process, things that came up, my opinions overall with I don't know what I could have done better, what I feel like more people could or should do when they find themselves in this type of situation, much like I had, and maybe go through the basics of what I was able to accomplish with this and why I was able to accomplish what I did with this litter. So first things first is this is a litter of Rhodesian Ridgebacks and Siberian Huskies born January 2nd, and we ended up with nine puppies in this litter. 3 boys, 6 girls. Mom had Kiwi had a false pregnancy before, and I knew that she desperately wanted to be a mama and I wanted to give her that opportunity, irregardless of it. And frankly, to do a Rhodesian Ridgeback like insemination, there's a lot of cost, and from where I was located, I couldn't find anybody that had any Rhodesian Ridgebacks unfixed for males in order to do it proper. So Kiwi did have a boyfriend across the street, Sebastian, and he was younger, but he was purebred, and they were very similar in size, and they're both not really water dogs, so I guess you could say I wasn't not allowing this to happen, but I didn't necessarily promote this to happen. It just kind of did. So oh, look, there's Lulu in the background. So I guess overall it kind of just comes down to the fact that this litter did surprise me, not just because we had 9, but just on the timeline it worked out perfectly because I was moving out of Idaho back to Washington, so I was gonna have a lot more space and things. So when we got here on the 1st, after that first sleep is when the first video was uploaded essentially. So on the 2nd of January, Mama giving birth to the very first was on the series, and there's a little bit of a showcase of me driving the U-Haul up to and over the border of Washington. So the first things first is that no matter what, when you have puppies, it's daunting. It's and you know, 9, I more or less just didn't know how effective and what resources I could use to find forever homes, and all I knew is that all the best that I could bring to the table was take advantage of the equipment and the hobbies and habits that I already have, which is in kind of doing some video editing and so forth. So let me highlight on there really quick. So I do have a lot of footage basically of them playing all the way back down to them in week 1, and it's all saved and organized and effective. So I do still want to put together like a full documentary series that's separate from this. This is more or less just me getting my thoughts together and formulating an idea as far as what I could share with you. So they didn't start really eating anything other than mama's milk until middle of the week 4 or early week 4. Early on it's really easy. It's mostly about cleanliness. It's just I kept them in my room. I made sure that as they grew, the space grew, and I made sure that the second that we really started doing the hard foods, that they were getting taken outside very regularly. Oh, there's Lulu. There's Jovi. So yeah, it's really exciting stuff as far as like taking under my wing. Now the advantage that I have, that I feel like a lot of people that are trying to rear puppies from birth is that I haven't been working this whole time. So as I had just moved, I had not taken on another job just yet. So this has been a full-time deal for me. It's allowed me to allocate my time effectively so that they got all the treatment that they needed. They were being fed on a very routine schedule, and I was able to jump over the hurdle in terms of potty training and regimenting their food and activity levels. Now it's easy with the whole litter too, because they tend to just play with each other. But now, like, as things have dialed back, I still have 3 here right now. They more want to play even more rigorously with mama, as well as amongst each other. So even today, for example, just a couple days over 9 weeks old, let's see, Sunshine, my boy, number 8, is actually he's taking it to mama. Mama was bleeding from her ears today, and it got on everybody because they're always just right there active, so still having to wipe down. But moving into the bath process too, the bath process was really fun and exciting. I will say, though, the best thing about this whole thing for me has been using puppyfind.com and getting such good feedback from the Facebook, or rather, sorry, the YouTube fellowship here. That was ultimately all I ever wanted from this, was to make sure that everybody had a chance to really see them as they grew, so they knew what they were getting. Everything that I was doing, I tried to document the best of my ability, and I think it went over pretty well, more or less. But I've only had really one of the clients that's still yet to pick up Lulu, number 7. They're supposed to pick up tomorrow on Tuesday. That really haven't been as communicative. You know, it's easy to get really excited about a puppy early on. It's harder to realize it when you're using puppyfind.com, because you're going to be dealing with people from distances from your general location. But yeah, with everybody that's already picked them up, no issues whatsoever. In fact, more than wonderful. I mean, I've received treats myself, little trinkets and gifts and cards, people sending things in the mail for their puppy. Like, that's what I think it takes in order to make sure, like, you have a successful, good party truly interested in the puppy. Those that kind of sit back and be like, you know, they just want the puppy, they don't really fully maybe understand what they're dealing with or what they're looking at. You need to be willing to work with the breeder based on their experience with their breed and what to expect. You know, the individuals that have yet to pick up is only because of shipping. So Blue Boy Sasha is going all the way across the country, and Lulu was the one that they said that they had bred Yorkies before. Well, Yorkies are not Rhodesian Ridgebacks or Huskies or large breed whatsoever. There's a very different proxy, let's say, as far as taking them home. But between all of them, the 3 boys and the 6 girls, they've all been absolutely wonderful. They've been so sweet. They do so great together. Gracie's done wonderful since she's gone home. She's had no accidents reported yet. Jovi had 1 accident this week thus far, as was reported, doing great. They're getting really excited about their new toys, their new elements, and it's been fascinating to kind of get some of this information fed back to me from the pipeline to see how effective my process was. But naturally, as long as you as early as possible really acclimate them to being outside and allow them to, you know, form their understanding of, this is where we go potty, this is where we aren't. I really had a hard line to decide on whether or not I was going to keep, as I don't like keeping them in the kennel. I love to play with the puppies. It's nice to have them roaming around the house, but I had to really allow them to settle in and get really comfortable with each other in their pen, and that just came down to making sure they had ample space to feel comfortable in that location. and I successfully made it all the way through the 8 weeks with my setup. And that just consisted of a 24-inch gate, 8-sided, and I did put down the whatever it is, the foam below that. Regular bedding changes. There's a lot of laundry that you'll be doing and rearing these puppies, and a lot of food, very much a lot of food. So they have gone through a huge amount of that. Now here's me talking and stuff, but yeah, it's been great. It's been great overall. I'm still waiting for everything to kind of materialize. I think I also had an advantage with going from really warm weather to cold weather briefly, and then back to some really warm weather at the finish line. But all in all, the puppy experience, keeping them on Purina blends, I just had to go away from that, and I probably didn't have to. I just wanted to for the smaller morsels for the week that they were really weaning onto the harder foods. And yeah, that was really the only reason I switched up the food at all whatsoever. But it is really expensive to feed. The vaccinations were fairly easy to do at home and cheaper than what would happen if you took them to the vet. So I've been advising everybody to maintain their at-home vaccination program, minus perhaps like rabies. So those are the things that are going to be exclusively important for the registration in your area. Those are the things you'll want to definitely still get scheduled through your own veterinarian clinic. So it's just the process as a whole was that my advantage simply became I did it without a job bearing down on me for my schedule, with other dogs, to really acclimate them to other environments. And then I really had to balance their time outside with inside and in the house as a whole. It's really crazy when you have 9 puppies running around with 2 other adult dogs inside the house, as opposed to just kind of keeping them really dialed into their location. Because essentially in the long run, the puppies, they don't want to poop and pee where they sleep. So that's why I did what I did at the very first 2 with the bark, because there was so much constantly. It gave them that nice location to all potty in a remote location, and I could put them out early in the morning without them roaming into everybody else's messes in the yard. So that worked out really well too. I never really had to get them up any earlier than 6, but I did get them all the way from where I was taking them out closer to midnight and up at 6 a.m. to 10 to about 7 a.m. So I got at least a 3-hour stretch on their early stage potty training to the late stage before they went home. And from what I've been getting on reports, they've been doing really good with that stuff too. But I do hope that you guys go through the playlist, Rhodesian Ridgebacks and puppies, and cycle through. There's a lot to learn from doing a process like this and rearing puppies. Overall, there's a lot of sentiment out there with how many puppies there are in the world, and ultimately, I never wanted to be an individual that brought too many puppies that couldn't find forever homes to the table. There shouldn't ever be any dogs going to shelters. In my opinion, I don't think they really do. It's the forever homes that you find if they're willing and able to follow through. So the other thing that I did put as a catalyst to the majority of the people buying from me was that at least for the first year, if at any point they're not able to take care of that dog within the first year, I will be more than happy to refund half and take that dog back. Because I'm gonna have other dogs. They're gonna fit right in with their original crew, and I think it's the best regiment. So I wanted to be one of those that did open up that capacity for those that may run into anything, as the future is always unknown. So there's just a couple of things in my thought process as far as how I treated this how I felt that I handled it and the advantages that I feel like I had. I'll still try and do a video montage kind of going through this more professionally, but in the meantime I just simply wanted to jump on and highlight this, understanding it's been a while since I've jumped back on here. So thank you very much for watching, and you take care.